Why is this picture in the Epstein files? Michael Jackson was innocent. This is actually some dirty work. It was his own damn kid, so why are they making it seem like he was part of the Epstein files and they had to redact these children who were maybe allegedly victims?
Throughout the years, black artists have been taken advantage of. It's been, the record companies really do conspire against their artists. They steal, they cheat, they do whatever they can, especially the black artists.
I understand that if I had taken the medication, I would not be here, and it would have been, he was deeply troubled. We miss him. We love his music, though.
Well, they would have Britney Spears too. I mean, look.
They would have Michael Jackson.
If you've always believed Michael Jackson was framed, well, you're looking pretty vindicated right now. Because once again, they're trying to drag Michael's name into something nasty with zero evidence to back it up. In case you missed it, Trump's DOJ randomly decided to redact a photo of Michael in the newly released Epstein files, a photo that has been publicly available for years and shows absolutely nothing inappropriate. So what was the point of hiding it now? That's the question everyone's asking. And now Kanye has entered the conversation, reminding people that Michael tried to warn us about these exact agendas long before any of this came to light. Michael knew who was pulling strings behind the scenes. He knew who was trying to set him up. He knew who wanted to destroy his image. And he was terrified, because he started exposing powerful forces that were trying to control him.
I knew Michael was surrounded by people that positioned themselves in his life, positioned themselves to control and take advantage of him. And that's what bothered me more than anything else, because I knew something terrible would happen at the end, not to mention the fact that Michael constantly told me, Latoya, if I die, they're going to murder me, they're going to kill me.
You would think that after Michael passed, they'd finally let him rest in peace, but clearly, that's not the case. Instead, his name keeps getting dragged back into the spotlight as a distraction, conveniently pulling attention away from the real Epstein accomplices and the powerful figures Epstein was actually connected to. And here's where things get wild. It's starting to look like the very same people behind these distractions are the ones Michael, and now Kanye, tried to warn us about. The patterns, the players, the agendas, they're all lining up in a way that's hard to ignore.
It's a conspiracy because the story always ends the same. We pioneer, we innovate. At the end of the story, it's not an accident. It's happened on purpose.
So after this photo of Michael Jackson resurfaced in the newly released U.S. Department of Justice documents tied to Jeffrey E., the mainstream media wasted no time jumping on it. They immediately pushed the narrative that Michael had been exposed as one of the clients, and the headlines did exactly what they were designed to do: get people emotional, confused, and not asking real questions. And honestly, if you didn't look any deeper, you'd probably fall for that storyline too. But that's not what was happening at all. The photo in question shows Michael standing with Diana Ross, Bill Clinton, and 3 children. But for some inexplicable reason, the DOJ decided to redact the kids' faces. And the moment people saw those blacked-out faces, they instantly assumed those children were island victims. Except, they weren't. Those were Michael's own 2 children, along with Diana Ross's grandson. The full, unredacted version of this exact photo has been publicly available for years. You can literally find it on Getty Images. The caption clearly states, "Singer-songwriter Michael Jackson, along with his children Michael Joseph Jackson Jr. and Paris Michael Catherine Jackson, was photographed with President Bill Clinton, Diana Ross, and her son Evan Ross in Washington, D.C., on December 19, 2003. But that's not even the end of it. Several mainstream outlets also claim that the photo of Michael, Diana Ross, and Bill Clinton was taken at an undisclosed location, a wording clearly meant to make people assume it was taken on the island. Another lie. Because the location isn't undisclosed at all. Anyone who bothered to look would know the photo was taken at a charity fundraising event for the Democratic Party at the Apollo Theater in New York. The event was called A Night at the Apollo, and it was held on April 24, 2002. And for the record, there's no evidence Epstein was even present at that event. Now, did Michael and Epstein ever cross paths? Yes, but once you actually look at the details, there is zero evidence that Michael was ever a client. Here's what we do know. One of the main claims people keep recycling comes from a 2016 deposition in the Ghislaine Maxwell case. In that testimony, accuser Johanna Schoberg said she once saw Michael at Epstein's Palm Beach home. But when she was directly asked if she had ever given Michael a massage, she said no. And nowhere in her statements does she accuse him of any wrongdoing. So yes, the testimony confirms Michael was in Epstein's house at some point, but that's literally all it confirms. People also love bringing up the fact that Michael's name reportedly appeared in Epstein's contact book. But once you actually follow the trail, the connection wasn't even direct. It links back to James Min, a former business associate of Michael, and Epstein's lawyer, Samuel Gorin, whose contact information was part of Epstein's broader network. The Justice Department, and multiple media outlets, have already made it clear that these document dumps include contact lists, mentions in depositions, and random associations, not proof that someone was a client or committed a crime. There's no photo, no court document, and no official evidence showing Michael had any meaningful connection to Epstein beyond Schoberg's single mention of seeing him there. Now, this is where things start getting really interesting, because this is the part that has people side-eyeing the entire situation and wondering if there was ever an effort to pull Michael into a blackmail operation. Sources say that the meeting at Epstein's house was supposedly about financial advice, and happened sometime between 2001 and 2003, just months before Michael was hit with 7 counts of child misconduct. But let's not forget, Michael was fully acquitted on all charges in the 2005 trial. The FBI had investigated him for years before that. They raided Neverland multiple times. And yet they couldn't find a single piece of evidence to use against him. There are actual notes from the FBI's reports, and they all say the same thing: nothing. And when you revisit that meeting, things start feeling even more unsettling. Insiders claim Michael was taken to Epstein's home by his own financial advisors. Michael's family has repeatedly said he was surrounded by shady people, people who were using him, controlling him, and pushing him into dangerous situations. According to his sister LaToya, Michael was terrified. He kept telling his family that these people would try to take him out. And LaToya is convinced that's exactly what happened.
How do you think he died? You've been quoted as saying you believe it may have been. You still think that?
Absolutely.
Why?
Absolutely.
Why are you so sure?
I would never, ever think differently. Because first of all, Michael told me that they were going to him. He was afraid. He was afraid for his life. The people that were involved in his life, is we shared that same life, where people come into your life, wiggle their way in, control you, manipulate, control your funds, your finances, everything that you have, and you must do what they tell you to do. And that's what Michael was going through. And he knew that everything that was happening to him was not kosher, it wasn't right.
Now, obviously LaToya couldn't just come out and name the people she believes were working against Michael. But if you actually read between the lines, and especially if you remember everything Michael himself said over the years about the industry, then honestly, LaToya doesn't need to spell it out. If you know, you know. And another person who understands this all too well is Kanye West. Remember when Kanye exposed his former personal trainer, Harley Pasternak, claiming this man tried to have him institutionalized, and then the entire world instantly labeled Kanye crazy? Yeah. Well, what came out afterward is what really raises eyebrows. It was revealed that Harley wasn't just some celebrity trainer. He previously worked as an intelligence agent for the Canadian military. And suddenly, things started to make a whole lot more sense. Because now, it's looking like Michael Jackson may have had his own version of a Harley Pasternak, someone who presented himself as a helper, an advisor, a protector, but according to Kanye's perspective, was actually there to handle him. And here's where the speculation gets even more uncomfortable. Many people online believe this same individual may have been the one who brought Michael to Epstein's house, and may have played a role in trying to set him up.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you guys are seeing photos of Michael Jackson pictured with Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Clinton. This is the reason why. If you aren't aware of who that man is on the right, that is Rabbi Shmuley. I think each and every single one of you know who Rabbi Shmuley is. That would be this individual. This is the individual who has connected Michael Jackson to Jeffrey Epstein, and I want everybody to remember that. This man also happens to own a sex store with his daughter, and I think that kind of tells you everything you need to know about who he is, what he stands for, and what he's trying to do, and the ideas that he's trying to push. Please be very careful when you're thinking and looking back at who this all relates to, why they're all doing this, and what the Epstein case is about.
So now that you've seen all the facts laid out, let me know what you think about Michael being dragged into this mess. Do you believe there was a real effort to frame him for crimes he never committed, and when that failed, they decided to silence him for good? Drop your thoughts down in the comments, because this conversation is far from over. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.